In the headlines for this hour on VTV News, Vietnam and Switzerland strengthen ties with new comprehensive partnership. And Ho Chi Minh City becomes bright spot in remittance attraction. Later on in the world news, U.S. imposes taxes on trading partners.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 3 p.m. local time in Hanoi. You're watching VTV News. During the 55th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum, WEF, in Davos and related bilateral activities in Switzerland, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh met with Swiss President Karin Keller-Sutter. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh emphasized Vietnam's commitment to its friendship and multi-faceted cooperation with Switzerland. President Keller-Sutter affirmed Switzerland's view of Vietnam as an important partner in the region. Both leaders agreed that the time was right to elevate their countries' relationship to a comprehensive partnership, aiming to foster deeper and more extensive cooperation. They also committed to expanding bilateral trade, prioritizing the completion of free trade agreement negotiation between Vietnam and the European Free Trade Association, and resuming talks on the amendment agreement on bilateral investment promotion and protection.
During the WEF in Davos, it's always a bit...
During the WEF Davos 2025, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh held a brief meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The two leaders reaffirmed the importance of their nation's traditional friendship, comprehensive partnership, and bilateral cooperation. They expressed their commitment to maintain and strengthen these ties while seeking effective measures to restore trade and maintain growth between the two countries. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh reiterated Vietnam's balanced, objective, and consistent positions on the Russia-Ukraine conflict, that all disputes must be resolved peacefully in accordance with international law and the United Nations charters, particularly regarding respect for national independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. Hanoi total budget revenue in 2024 reached more than $20 billion, making it the locality with the highest budget revenue in the country. These figures were announced at the 21st conference of the Hanoi Party Committee. Domestic revenue makes up nearly 94% of the city budget revenue structure. This includes revenue from state-owned enterprises, foreign invested enterprises, non-state enterprises, personal income tax, and land use fees, all of which increased by double-digit compared to 2023. The business community in Hanoi, comprising nearly 400,000 enterprises and representing one-third of all enterprises in the country, consistently complied with tax laws and policy while working to develop production and business. Ho Chi Minh City's 2024 remittances are expected to reach nearly $9.6 billion, a 0.9% increase from last year. Asian and American countries continue to be the primary contributors, making up over 82% of total inflow. During the Tate Holiday season, transaction volumes are forecast to increase by 30 to 40% compared to regular month.
On a typical day, staff members at this remittance company process 30 to 40 transactions. Recently, that number has jumped to 60 to 70 transactions, with some staff handling up to 100 transactions.
Home payments have risen by 20%. We are closely monitoring remittance flows, which are expected to increase in the final weeks.
At this company, remittances from Africa comprise about 5% of its total $4 billion in transactions. Though modest, this figure indicates growth potential in this emerging market.
We saw notable increases in remittances from Africa. The rising number of Vietnamese workers in African countries makes this a promising market for future growth.
Along with other foreign currency sources, this is a critical resource for overall economic growth.
According to the State Bank of Vietnam, under the new project on mobilizing and effectively promoting remittance resources, the city expects to maintain a steady 6 to 8% growth in remittance inflows over the coming years.
In 2024, Vietnam's leather, footwear, and handbag industry achieved its export turnover target of $27 billion. The main contributors to this success were the proactive efforts to develop supply chains and localize raw materials. More on the following story.
In 2024, this textile and garment producer achieved over $204 million in revenue. The company's increased localization of raw materials and ability to capitalize on markets under free trade agreements are set to be the cornerstone of this year's growth targets.
Our company's domestic sourcing ratio has grown to 30%, up from less than 5% 5 years ago. Key trade agreements like EVFTA and CPTPP require specific input criteria, such as fabrics produced in Vietnam, to enjoy preferential tariffs. This has significantly boosted the development of a complete supply chain and encouraged further investment in Vietnam's supporting industries.
Footwear remains one of Vietnam's billion-dollar export industries. To reach its export target of over $30 billion this year, the industry must address its most pressing challenge, securing a reliable supply chain for raw materials.
By proactively managing raw material supply, we can compete more effectively, maintain control over production, and achieve profit increases of 150% to 200% over relying on external supply chains.
The leather and footwear industry still imports 50% to 60% of its raw materials. We strongly urge the government to develop raw material trading centers, which are currently in short supply. These centers would help businesses secure materials more easily, enable small and medium enterprises to integrate into supply chains, and maximize the benefits of free trade agreements.
In addition to expanding market access, Vietnam's 19 free trade agreements require reducing tariffs on imported goods over time. Strengthening supply chain linkages and enhancing localization rates are expected to be vital strategies for textile and footwear enterprises to sustain their domestic market presence while boosting export efficiency.
The Vietnamese kitchen gods worship ceremony took place on the 23rd day of the last lunar month. This annual custom allows families to express gratitude to the kitchen gods, believed to protect homes, keep stove burning, and bring peace. Families prepare offerings based on their means, while market buzz with activities as people gather necessary items for the ceremony.
At a bustling market in Hanoi, crowds gathered to purchase red cup, votive paper, and ceremonial food. While sellers report higher import prices this year, they've managed to keep retail prices affordable.
This year, the Kitchen Gods Day falls on a Wednesday, so many people started shopping over the weekend on the 19th and 20th.
In addition to cup, votive offerings such as hats, shoes, clothes, and gold coins are key components of the ceremony. However, growing environmental awareness has led many families to reduce the amount of votive paper they burn, focusing on simpler and more eco-friendly rituals.
I now limit how much votive paper I burn. On traditional days, I prepare a simple set of offerings for the kitchen gods.
At supermarkets, green vegetables and fresh fruit are the most popular items. Stores have reported a surge in customer traffic thanks to abundant inventory and attractive promotions.
We've seen a 15 to 20% increase in customers compared to regular days. Most purchases are vegetables, fruits, and carp, which are also available at our supermarket. We expect purchasing power to continue rising as Tet approaches. Our focus is on promoting green and sustainable consumption.
To maintain stable prices and quality during the festive season, the Industry and Trade Department has intensified market inspections to prevent both the sale of substandard goods and sudden price increases.
In mountainous district of Phie, farmers are celebrating a warm date as prices for key products continue to rise. Acacia wood prices have increased nearly 30% compared to 2 months ago, while sugarcane prices remain high. Combined with government support policy for the new year, this has made the sugarcane field bustle with excitement.
In Soiba commune, farmers are busy harvesting and transporting sugarcane to the factory. These fields are among the first to be harvested in the commune, yielding 70 tons per hectare, with the factory paying $54 per ton. Families are looking forward for a prosperous Tate celebration.
We have had a good harvest and high wages. 500 meters of mature sugarcane yields 6 tons, while 500 meters of the first crop sugarcane yields 8 tons.
Phie's sugarcane fields, spanning over 26,000 hectares, have been under harvest for more than a month. Though domestic sugar prices have fallen by 15%, both the KCP and the Phie sugar factories are offering $54 per ton, higher than last year's rate. As a result, many farmers are seeing net profits of $2,900 per hectare.
This year, sugarcane and acacia wood prices have risen to their highest levels ever. This has helped local farmers enjoy a warm Tate.
Factories also have a support policy, offering loans of $80 per hectare to help farmers with their Tate preparations.
And before moving on to some other news, let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate for today, January 22nd. Coming up next on VTV News, exhibition spotlights major milestones in party's 95-year history. And Tate celebration light up Jeongsa archipelago. More than 200 photos and artifacts highlighting the Communist Party of Vietnam 95 years journey of leading the nations are currently on display at the Ho Chi Minh Museum. This exhibition is part of activities marking the 95th anniversary of the party's founding. More on the following story.
A pivotal moment in the party's history is captured in a photograph of the 1930 conference held in Kowloon, present-day Hong Kong, China, under the chairmanship of Comrade Nguyen Ai Quoc. This historic gathering unified communist organizations in Vietnam, serving as the party's founding congress and marking a turning point in the Vietnamese Revolution.
The Communist Party of Vietnam guided the nation from its resistance against French colonialism to the triumph of national unification in 1975 and the construction of socialism. Since its founding by the great leader Ho Chi Minh, the party has achieved remarkable milestones. Today, it continues to foster unity between the party and the people, driving profound and impressive progress.
The exhibition delivers a clear message. The Vietnamese Revolution, guided by the party's leadership, has achieved remarkable victories that have transformed both individual lives and the nation's destiny.
Under the party's leadership, Vietnam has achieved remarkable progress, particularly in the nearly 40 years since the renovation Doi Moi period began. The country has transformed into a rapidly developing nation, bringing significant improvements to its people's quality of life.
The exhibition showcases historical documents and artifacts of enduring importance.
Reforming the way of working remains highly relevant. It serves as a reminder for organizations and individuals alike to improve and adapt to meet the demands of the modern era.
The exhibition runs from January 21st to April 10th, offering a compelling look at the party's pivotal role in shaping Vietnam's history and future.
Nearly 3,000 tons of rice from the National Reserve will be allocated to 7 provinces to support local people during the Tate Holiday and the lean season in early 2025 under 2 decisions recently signed by Deputy Prime Minister Hồ Đức Phước. Accordingly, over 2,519 tons of rice will be provided for 5 localities, including Đắk Lắk, Ninh Thuận, Cao Bằng, Hà Giang, and Kon Tum, and more than 456.5 tons will be allocated to Bắc Cạn and Đắk Nông provinces. The Deputy Prime Minister asked the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Labor, Invalids and Social Affairs to take prime responsibility for rice allocations and report on the outcome. Meanwhile, the People's Committees in the 7 localities are responsible for providing support for people in need in a timely fashion and in line with regulations. The Vietnam General Confederation of Labor will provide airfare support for 450 union members to return home for Tate on January 25th. This initiative is part of their Union Flight Spring 2025 program. The support will benefit union members facing financial hardships, high-performing workers and their relatives, funding their flight from Ho Chi Minh City to Hanoi and Vinh. Labor federations from Ho Chi Minh City, Bình Dương, Đồng Nai, Long An, Tây Ninh, and Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu will select the recipients. Before departure, the Confederation will host a Tate celebration and distribute gifts to the workers at Tân Sơn Nhất Airport. Lý Sơn Island District in Quảng Ngãi is planning to help residents return home for Tate celebrations amid concern about unusual sea conditions. The weather at year-end may affect passenger transport on the Saki-Lý Sơn route, which currently operates 3 passenger ships daily. While authorities plan to increase the number of ships, they may need to suspend the Saki-Lý Sơn route if harsh weather and strong winds make inland waterway travel unsafe before Lunar New Year. In such cases, alternative transportation arrangements will be made. Officials expect more than 3,000 people to return to Lý Sơn Islands for Tate celebrations. As the Lunar New Year approaches, ship laden with love and support from the mainland set sail for Trường Sa district in Khánh Hòa province, bringing warmth and encouragement to the officers and soldiers and residents who safeguard the nation's sovereignty.
After navigating through a tropical depression across more than 200 nautical miles, the journey to Trường Sa reaches its first stop at the island's district center.
This journey reflects the party's, state and military's care for officers and soldiers, boosting their fighting spirits as the Lunar New Year nears.
Trường Sa Island has transformed significantly, now featuring a wharf, guest houses, a temple dedicated to Uncle Po, a pagoda, a martyr's memorial, and renewable energy facilities.
We are grateful for the support and love of the mainland that allows us to have a fulfilling Tate celebration.
The festive atmosphere in Trường Sa grows more vibrant with potted flowers and peach blossoms, bringing sincerity to soldiers stationed on remote islands like An Bang, Song Tử, Đá Đông, and Đá Tây.
We received many gifts from the mainland, filling us with pride and a deep sense of responsibility.
For the residents living in these distant island districts, the Lunar New Year has truly arrived with flowers, peach blossoms, and chung cakes.
Both the state and the soldiers stationed here take good care of us.
Tate in Trường Sa brims with emotion, warmed by the heartfelt support sent from the mainland across stormy seas. This celebration serves as a powerful bond that unites all Vietnamese people.
Even though they live far from home, the Vietnamese community in the United States still looks forward to the traditional Tate Holiday. For them, Tate is an opportunity for the younger generations to connect with the traditions of their homeland. More to follow.
A fully detailed Vietnamese Tate scene is reenacted, with traditional arts, games, and a traditional market selling obligatory New Year goods. Even though they are half a world away, the atmosphere is the same for the participants.
I am very happy to see that no matter where we go, Vietnamese people still carry their Vietnamese blood. The fact that so many people take part shows that everyone always looks towards their homeland.
One of the event's highlights is the Vietnamese community's performances. Each is not only a display of talent but also conveys pride and love for the community's homeland's culture.
Our nostalgia for our homeland is unforgettable. The further we live from it, the more we miss Vietnam.
When participating in a special occasion like this, I can distinctly feel the Tate atmosphere. I'm glad we have this event to connect with each other.
The Tate Holiday is an occasion for the Vietnamese community to reunite and ensure Vietnamese culture is passed on to the younger generation and spread to international friends.
Coming up next in World News. U.S. imposes taxes on trading partners. And Cuba condemns U.S. decision to reinstate nations on state sponsors of terrorism list. A day after taking the oath of the office, U.S. President Donald Trump announced plans to impose tariff on goods from the European Union and China beginning February 1st. He warned of a 10% tariff on China's goods due to illegal fentanyl trafficking into the U.S., along with a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada. Trump cited these two neighboring countries' failure to prevent illegal immigration and fentanyl trafficking into the U.S. According to official trade data, China, Canada, and Mexico are the U.S. largest trading partners. In response, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen emphasized the importance of balancing security with innovation and prosperity. The Chinese vice premier stated that China does not pursue a trade surplus and is willing to balance trade through increased imports. The Canadian Prime Minister emphasized that U.S. prosperity relies on Canadian resources, but indicated preparedness for any action from President Donald Trump. Cuba has expressed its opposition after U.S. President-elect Donald Trump reverts the decisions of his predecessor, Joe Biden, to remove Cuba from the state sponsor of terrorism's list. Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel said that President Donald Trump's decision was unreasonable and had no basis. He also emphasized that the economic blockade policy that President Trump applied during his first term has caused difficulties for Cuban people, leading to a shortage of goods. Many countries like Russia, China, and Venezuela have criticized the U.S. decision on Cuba, stating that the unilateral embargo is a serious violation of international laws and relations, and urged Washington to lift the embargo on La Habana. Tech giants Facebook, X, YouTube, and other platforms have pledged to step up their efforts to clamp down on hate speech as part of the new EU Code of Conduct aimed at making the internet safer and healthier. Under the new rules, a company must respond to at least 2/3 of reports of violations within 24 hours and work with experts to moderate content more rigorously. Companies will use artificial intelligence to detect violating content and disclose how harmful content is spread. Compliance with the rules will influence how the EU monitors online platforms in the future, helping users have a safer experience. Across Japan, vacant houses have become a growing concern as young people migrate to urban centers, leading to population decline in rural areas. In response, many localities have launched initiatives to convert these abandoned properties into tourist accommodations and public spaces. This story takes place in Oita Prefecture, which has one of Japan's most elderly populations.
This 150-year-old traditional Japanese house in Kitsuki, Oita Prefecture, is now a tourist accommodation called Yamaga Bunko. After lying abandoned for more than 15 years, the house was renovated by Makino and Kujira, a couple who moved from Tokyo to the countryside.
I love the environment here, both the lifestyle and nature. Back when I was a student, I wrote my thesis on life in this area. I felt the charm of this place, so I decided to settle here.
Kitsuki Town operates a vacant house bank, where empty houses are listed on the local government website. Depending on the case, the support fund ranges from $3,200 US to $9,600 USD.
The cost of a one-night stay for 2 people at this facility is about $46 US and an additional $12 US for dinner.
Kitsuki Town appears on a list of residential areas that may disappear by 2050 because of its declining population. The town's vacant house rate stands at 24%, almost double the national average.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's all the news for today. To rewatch our program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download our mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.